Hi everyone, welcome back to the latest episode of the Graft Concept Podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about the importance of goal setting and what setting clear, defined goals can do for your personal development. By the end of this episode, we're going to have gone through a process which will help you sort of frame goal setting and hopefully set some really strong goals that you can get stuck into and make progress towards whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. Goal setting is a critical part of personal growth. Sometimes, and I know this from experience, we set goals that are too generic and not meaningful enough for us to give them our full attention. Something that I've found works really well is before setting defined goals, reflecting on exactly where you are now and where it is that you want to get to. And then you can set some powerful goals that are really aligned with your purpose. So by now, if you've listened to a few of the podcast episodes, you'll know the Graft Concept is a holistic system which has 5 key pillars: growth, relationships, adventure, fitness, and teaching. I'm going to talk through some questions that you can ask yourself under each of these topics. And the initial aim is just to sort of listen, record them, sit down with a pen and paper, write them down, and perhaps answer them before you get into actual goal setting to give yourself a little bit more depth around what it is you want to achieve. So, like I say, listen to this episode or find the posts on social media, sit with the questions, have a look at them. Once you've been through them, have a think, give it a little bit of time before you come back, and then start to write down some answers against each one. Now, the purpose of this is to set really specific goals that are aligned to the outcomes that you want to achieve. There's good examples and bad examples of goals. Now, some bad examples might be, I want to lose weight, or I want to get promoted at work, or I want to find someone to get into a new relationship with. And the reason that these goals are bad is that they're really generic, they're not measurable. It's difficult to understand whether you've made any progress against them or not. And those things not being present makes it really hard for you to keep up motivation and keep working towards them, particularly when life gets busy and other sort of distractions step in. So a good example or a strong example of a goal would be, I want to lose 1 stone within 6 weeks. And the reason that's good is it's measurable. You know it's a stone that you want to lose within a defined time scale, which is 6 weeks. You can break that goal down into weekly chunks. So you could say, I need to lose 2.5 pounds per week for the next 6 weeks. And that's something that you can track regularly. You'll know whether you're on track after week 1 or week 2, and you're not looking to sort of get to that last sort of week 5 or 6 and realise you're nowhere near, which is going to lead to you being frustrated and lose motivation. Another example would be, a good example would be, I want to build stronger relationships in my career to help me unlock career progression. I'm going to make contact with at least 1 existing contact and 1 totally new contact each week for the next 3 months and see where that gets me. Again, it's specific and it's measurable. Really important stuff to do when you're looking at goal setting. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to go through some questions to just get your mind thinking about some things, asking yourself some questions, which will hopefully sort of kickstart your mind into sort of understanding why it is you want to set these goals, what the positive benefits will be of you doing them, and really helping you turn perhaps generic goals into much more specific ones. So I'm going to start with growth, the first pillar of graft. And I've got 10 questions to ask yourself for each of these 5 pillars. So if you want to listen along, don't know whether you're listening perhaps in the car or in the gym, just have a think of these as you go through. If you've got a little bit more time, it might be a good idea to take out pen and paper, write these down, or as I mentioned, it will be available on social media via the @Graft Concept on Instagram, or if you want to message me, I'll send you a copy across on PDF. So let's get into them. Growth. Question 1, what skills or knowledge would make the biggest difference in my personal and professional life? Question 2. What habits have I struggled to build in the past and why? Question 3. How do I typically respond to challenges and how could I improve that response? 4. What does growth mean to me and how will I know if I am achieving it? 5. What limiting beliefs hold me back and what would happen if I released them? 6. What is one thing I could learn that would make everything else in my life easier? 7. How much time do I dedicate to personal development and is that enough? 8. In which areas do I feel most stagnant and what small step could I take to spark progress? 9. Who are my role models and what growth traits do I admire in them? 10. If I were to set one powerful growth goal for the year, what would that be? Okay, so that's the growth pillar, and we're going to move on to relationships pillar next. Question 1 on relationships. Which relationships in my life currently energize me and which drain me? 2. How can I deepen my connection with those who matter most to me? 3. Do I communicate openly and authentically, or do I hold back? 4. What role do I play in my relationships? And is this role fulfilling or limiting? 5. How often do I express gratitude or appreciation to the people closest to me? 6. In what ways could I become a better friend, partner, family member, or colleague? 7. Which relationships have I neglected? And what steps could I take to reconnect? 8. What qualities do I seek in my ideal relationships, and am I nurturing these in myself? 9. How can I ensure my relationships align with my personal values? And 10. What specific action will I take this year to build a new, meaningful connection? Okay, the next pillar of graft is the A, which is adventure. So the 10 questions for adventure, starting with question 1. When was the last time that I did something that scared or challenged me? 2. What activities, places, or hobbies excite me but feel outside of my comfort zone? 3. How often do I take risks, even small ones, to experience something new? 4. What is one adventure I've always dreamed of but never prioritized? 5. How can I add small doses of adventure to my daily or weekly routine? 6. How do I define the term adventure and what type of adventure would enrich my life? 7. What's one skill I'd like to learn or experience that feels challenging? 8. How can I reframe the term adventure as a personal exploration rather than just a physical activity? 9. What fear or obstacle has kept me from pursuing my dreams? 10. What is one adventurous goal I can set for the new year that aligns with my growth? Okay, that's adventure done. Next pillar, F, for fitness. Question 1 under fitness. How do I feel about my current level of fitness and what would ideal fitness look like to me? 2. What health or fitness goals have I set before and why have I succeeded or failed with them? 3. What physical activities make me feel strong and energized? 4. How do I currently care for my mental health and what more could I do? 5, what role does fitness and mental health play in my life? What role do I want it to play? 6, what is one of fitness-related achievement that would make me proud in the next year? 7, how well am I balancing exercise, nutrition, mental health, and rest in my daily routine? 8, what negative beliefs or fears do I have around fitness that I need to let go of? 9, how can I incorporate fitness into my daily routine so it feels more natural and sustainable? And 10, what small fitness habit could I build this month that would compound over the course of the next year? Moving on to the final pillar, which is teaching. I think sometimes this one gets a little bit confusing for people because they might look at teaching in a little bit like of a one-dimensional way. The way I look at teaching is sort of how you can use your own personal experience to help others. So don't think of it or overthink it as to be anything more than that. So let's get into these last 10 questions under the teaching pillar of Graft. So question 1, what valuable lessons have I learned this year that I can share with others? 2, how can I support or mentor someone who is at an earlier stage in their journey? 3, what area of my expertise or experience could I share to make an impact? 4, how comfortable am I in sharing my knowledge? And what is holding me back? 5, how could teaching others also help me grow in my own journey? 6, who has inspired or taught me this year? And how can I honour that by paying it forward to somebody else? 7, what platforms or formats feel natural for me to share my insights? Is it writing, speaking, coaching, or something else? 8, if I could help somebody avoid a mistake that I made, what would that be? 9, how can I make teaching or helping others a regular part of my life, even in small ways? And 10, what ambitious teaching goal could I set myself this year to help build my confidence? So there's 50 questions there. A lot of them are quite thought-provoking and hopefully make you think on quite a deep level about some of the things that are important to you and why you would want to set goals around them. I think if you spend time to think about some of these questions or even come up with some of your own questions, either instead or to layer on top of these, will put you in a really good place to set some strong goals that are meaningful for you. I think once you've done that and been through this process of asking the questions, I would suggest just giving yourself a little bit of time to reflect. Going straight into the goal setting process is challenging, and that time of reflection is something I know has really helped me set some clear goals. The time of year that we're at now as well, sort of heading into mid-November, no doubt people are starting to think about New Year. Obviously, it's a really common time for people to be setting goals, which is fine. Fresh start is good and gives people a kickstart. There's nothing wrong with setting goals from the 1st of January. But even if you want to give yourself between now, mid-November and January to work on getting to the core of what your values and goals are for the next year, I think that's a really good way to spend the next few weeks. And no doubt that will set you up for some strong success in 2025. Again, hope you found this episode useful. We've got a couple of guests booked in the next few weeks. So whilst the last couple of episodes have been me on my own, that won't be continuing in the long term. Looking forward to bringing you those future episodes. If you've enjoyed this, please save it, share it with somebody that you think will find it useful and like it. It really helps with the engagement on social media, which gets it in front of more people. And the whole aim of the Graft Concept is to help people. So let's see what we can do and push it the message as far as possible. Please, like, subscribe and share wherever you can, and look forward to speaking to you again on the next episode.